Last visit with Vincent Buddy Cianci before this election. He's been in here once previously. Jorge Alorza's been in here a couple of times. So has Dan Harrop. So this rounds out our visits with mayoral candidates in Providence. And everybody will admit that the race that most folks are watching and are curious and wondering about and betting on and everything else is the mayor's race in Providence. So we'll get to it this evening. Welcome in, Dan York, My State of Mind. Happy Halloween. So watch the show and listen for the doorbell and manage the situation, but stay with us, okay? Let's go to the rundown and figure out what's going on here. Yes, it was for him, and boy, did he seem to enjoy it. They are, for all intents and purposes, over, and some of you might be saying, thank goodness, although they have been widely viewed, no doubt. There's a fire chief in Coventry that may not be. Come Monday, Tuesday, after Target 12 finished him off last night. Holy moly. Yeah, you know what? This is a conversation about Ebola, but really about how you manage health concerns, security, and responsibility all in one package. And of course, we'd like to check in with you on your state of mind. So let's zip through before we get to Buddy Cianci and a conversation all-encompassing, as much as we can get in. Hopefully he'll give me short answers tonight. We can cover a lot of ground. President's Safe Harbor. That's what it was. Listen, all the states that we've got in America that have contentious Senate races, like about 14 of them, the president wasn't welcome. So this week before the election, he went, rolling around. We've got all the video there. It's, a big night for people in Providence. He came into the Omni. I think Michelle must have left because she was here yesterday. I don't know what happened there. But he spoke at Rhode Island College. He had a little education seminar prior to going out and seeing all the students and the public and the press. He spoke at the event. This is all the play-by-play. And then, of course, we follow him out of here. What we don't have is the video of him at Greg's, where he and Gina Raimondo went for, she got a sandwich. He bought her a sandwich. He got himself a sandwich and a chocolate cake on the road, took it back on Air Force One, and left a $20 tip. Listen, this is safe harbor for the president. Good video for him as he's making his arguments for economics. But the midterm elections are going to be tough for him. He knows it, so I hope he enjoyed his stay here. It might be the oasis in what has been a storm. Next item, we've got a culmination of the debates finally. We have a headline, I think we do, something like that. Yes, so the gubernatorial candidates on Channel 10 in a widely viewed broadcast finally finished duking it out. You know what? It's a lying contest. Who can lie more? Between Gina Raimondo and Alan Fung, it is so neck and neck, not just in the polls, but the number of lies that they've told. The one wild card in this thing is a Channel 10 investigation into 38 studios and a memo sent by a third-party consultant to Kurt Schilling that said that Alan Fung was actually interested in bringing him in there. You know what? That would be the mayor's job in 2009, 2010, before the funding dilemma and the debacle of the loan guarantee program and all the corruption that most likely came along with it. You see all these candidates, enough for them, Kev. Let's just look at the camera and say this. That latest little I-team investigation, as it's called, might be the thing that helps Gina Raimondo tilt this race if it is a dead heat, and that's a shame. Journalists have got to be careful not to intervene speciously into elections. And that's what this one has done. I mean, Alan Fung is fibbed as much as Gina Raimondo, but that one tilted the axis of this particular election. We'll see next week. Alrighty, still working. I don't know how he will be next week. Did you see the Target 12 piece that Tim White put together? Here's the headline on our website. We'd like to run Tim's work here, but this thing was 10 minutes in length, and I just don't have the room for it right now. But after watching that investigation of the fire chief in Coventry, the Coventry Fire District, and his golfing on the clock, and by the way, I don't mind a guy stealing a couple rounds of golf every once in a while, but the imbibing and the alleged dope smoking and use of the vehicle and all that kind of stuff. Watch the Target 12 piece and then ask yourself a question. How long will this particular fire chief remain employed? The answer will be not very. What he ought to do is lawyer up, cut a deal, and head to the golf course permanently, because he ain't going to make it. Next item. Yeah, it is, no doubt. So she's a nurse, and she says, look, I'm free of Ebola. I was over there. I'm now back. I went to the New Jersey thing. I'd almost sue them. I was in quarantine up here in Maine, self-quarantine volunteer. I took a bike ride. You got a problem with it? Here's the headline. Yep, the judge orders a quarantine for Casey. She's got about, what, 8-10 days left in her incubation period. So far, she has shown no symptoms. Here's CBS.
Casey Hickox flew the coop. The nurse broke her quarantine and went for a bike ride with her boyfriend in Fort Kent, Maine. State troopers followed her but did not try to stop her because they did not have a judge's permission to do so. Hickox was quarantined inside a New Jersey hospital tent after she returned from overseas, and officials said she developed a fever. She tested negative for Ebola and returned to Maine on Monday. She wants to resume her normal life.
No, she probably will get a chance to do so, but she serves as a test case here for how government can enforce health responsibility, how nursing professionals, doctors, medical people in general ought to comport themselves, and it is a bad omen and a bad saga and a tough controversy for those medical professionals who are thinking about volunteering their time overseas in West Africa to fight this disease. A lot to be learned in the next 10 days. My guess is she'll be clear, but she'll be a poster person for a serious controversy that not everybody has the answers for. Your state of mind, you always have the answers, right? You call us at 228-1886, leave us a voicemail, you can Facebook post, tweet at us, put that information up if we can. This is how you get in touch with the broadcast. Do we have that handy? No, we don't have it handy, but we do have a reaction from you on the phone lines at 228-1886. Here's one person's voicemail.
I hope Buddy Cianci wins for Providence because he's the only guy that can do the job at Providence, Rhode Island, because Providence looks like a dump. There's a crime, a lot of drugs.
Well, Anthony, you're a vote that Buddy Cianci desperately needs because reportedly, if you believe the Brown poll, he's deeply behind. But then again, I hear he's got some numbers that will tell us differently. We'll find out when we come back. Stay with us. Alrighty, so here's the latest ad that Vincent Buddy Cianci put up, and I think it took a few people back.
It's no secret I've had to learn some painful lessons. I've made mistakes in my life that I'm sorry for. But I've learned from those mistakes, and I know I'll make a better mayor for it. I want my grandchildren, my family, and you to be proud of me. There's a lot to do, and I have the experience to get it done now.
It was, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Even though you've resisted wanting to constantly go over yesterday, you've been forced to do that. Did polling data tell you that you needed to one more time offer what seemed to a lot of people to be a more concentrated apology for whatever it is that you've done here?
I think I've always said that I've made mistakes, and that
you have. There's no doubt.
You know, I said that, and I just think I hadn't been in any of the ads, and I think that we wanted to put it. I wanted to put it in there because I wanted to show the fact that I had made that statement, and this isn't the first time I've said it.
But there's a lot of folks that just keep using the word contrition. They don't feel like it's well packaged enough. Clearly, you're responding to that with that ad because that's the closest that you've come, at least in a formal setting, this close in the election. Correct?
You see, I don't see it that way because ever since I came home from that awful experience, I have said I've made mistakes. I've always proclaimed innocence and all that, but I've made mistakes, as we all have.
So
my mistakes,
the mistakes are not inside the conviction, though. You absolutely believe that you were wrongly convicted.
I've always proclaimed my innocence, Dan. I've said I was found guilty of one charge, which was a conspiracy to commit a crime I was found not guilty of. Now, the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of things that I could say. I could say that I made mistakes in my mayoralty, and I did. But I also had 22 years of a lot of good things that happened in downtown and in the neighborhoods of the city of Providence. And this all comes down to experience. No one is perfect, and I'm certainly not perfect. And, you know, I knew when I got in this thing, so you talk about contrition and all this, I knew when I got in this thing that it wouldn't be an easy ride. Yeah, I knew that. I knew there'd be no glory in it, trust me. When you pick up the newspaper every single day and it's 4 or 5, I don't know how many, hundreds of letters to the editor and articles they've written.
Hold your thought on that because I want to, since you brought it up, I was going to bring Kev, just show the last 3 days, or last 2 days. Yesterday, Journal, today, a couple of bang-to-bangs, your sickening income tax hypocrisy, and then you've heard us already. This has been a new world record for the Journal. We'll talk about that in a second. But on the ad itself, I've always been kind of curious and uncomfortable when family is used in a political ad. It's a tough decision for anybody to have to make. Did the kids want to do that ad with you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
How are they doing in their own lives since you've brought them into this, I think a comfortable way? But tell me, have they? What's it like to be
They're the
Buddy's
ones-
granddaughter, grandson, and have to deal with the barrage?
I think that frankly they've had to deal with that a long time. But I also know that I love them very much, and they're the ones who, at first, they didn't want me to run. We had a little family get together, and the older ones, obviously, little Julius, he's not old enough to make those decisions. But my two older ones told me at first I shouldn't run, and then after a while, we used to have dinner on Sunday, and they said, well, Grandpa, I think you should run. And they said that to me because they said it would make you happy, and they're willing, they're on for the ride. But I haven't used them at anything. It's just this one commercial.
They may, obviously they know you as good or better than anybody, but I have said to people, you keep talking about the comfortable life of being a radio talk show host.
Well, you know that better than I do.
Well, frankly, sometimes you insult me when you say that, because I work hard at being a radio talk show host.
I understand.
And it's not so comfortable. Maybe you have got a different approach. But here's the thing. I'm going to say this because it's a little inside baseball. You look tired to me many days.
Really?
I've never seen you look better.
No,
So there is something
You've
about...
never seen me look better than now. Yeah.
I've never seen you look better than you do now.
Well, that's a compliment.
Which
Thank you.
tells me that there's something about this campaigning thing which makes you get up in the morning with a spark that even a radio career or any other kind of public attention couldn't bring to you.
Compared to, let me tell you this, a talk show, to me, I don't want to embarrass or insult you, so that's my last mission here. But I didn't say you didn't work hard. I think you work very hard. But a job as mayor is a 24-hour day job. And to be a radio talk show host, in all deference, is a 3 or 4 hour job. And you prepare, I know you prepare for your shows a lot more than I did, okay? I guaranteed, okay? Because I'm older than you, have a little more life experience. Maybe I could dig a little deeper, in life experience.
Well, this is the conversation's going on a track I didn't expect it, and I'm not going to fall into the trap of discussing me.
No,
the truth of the matter
that
is,
was the whole idea of
I
my
work
being
my
here.
ass off on that show,
I
and it
understand
is
that.
24 hours,
Yeah.
and you've had a different approach, but the equity you have in this community gives you that right, and you can do your show any way you want to. My point here is that it's a daily grind. You got to be up every day. And I saw that and actually post-surgery, we're all concerned about your health and welfare,
And
whether they want to vote for you or not.
Right.
But my point is that you are energized by campaigning.
Yeah, I am.
This is your thing, man.
That's
This
right.
is what makes this is what makes you go.
That
And
is
your
correct.
kids, your grandkids, must know something about that. So talk to me about it for a few seconds.
Well, the reason I'm running for mayor is for a lot of reasons, and one is very personal, and that is that I do get energized by being in the community, by listening to people's stories, and by, the best part of being mayor, you can pick up a phone and you can help somebody and you can feel real good about that. And that's what I did for years as mayor of the city of Providence. And I get the stories when I go around campaigning because people don't forget, oh, you remember this and you did this and you helped me here or you helped me there. And that's the soul of a mayor, a good mayor. You can't learn how to be a mayor by reading a textbook. You can't do that. What you can do is you can be a mayor, get the experience, and learn over those years what can be done, what cannot be done. And will you stumble along the way? Yes. But the fact is, you meet people, and I love doing that. I love being energized by the people and helping, and also finding out exactly what's going on in the community. I love talking to people. That's why I became a talk show host.
So it's when we come back, we'll see if we can identify what the one issue is that he thinks you should know about this race and how you win, because it's not going to be easy. Stay with us. He needs no introduction. But one thing that with all of the litmus test on you that this race has been, can we push it aside for a second? Don't give a speech, give me a fairly short answer. What do you think you've accomplished in terms of a message resonating for the voter to vote for you? In other words, what benefit are they thinking about? Or what policy or what program or what idea have you articulated that you think they get?
I think they get a couple of things, but the most important thing they get, when you ask a question in the polls, okay, I'll admit we do polls, 2 to 1. They say the city of Providence is on the wrong track. And that's everybody. That's
Everybody
not
knows
buddies.
that.
Yeah. 2 to 1 when you ask the people who even are detractors, was the city of Providence run better when Buddy Cianci was mayor or run now?
Buy that.
That's what they say in the polls. All the polls have been done.
But what are they getting from your message? What are they getting from your platform? What are they getting from your policies? What are they? You keep talking, or you did early on, about future, future, future. What future thing are they counting on, do you think, with you?
A number of things. Education changes, for sure, with those interested in education. Number two, long-term economic development, which is the Port of Providence. That's the biggest difference that we have, one of the big differences we have, myself and my opponent, and that is what you do with that 60 acres of land at the port that's north of Thurber's Avenue. And I think they also know that experience counts. Any poll that's done, you'll see that we shine when it comes to leadership and experience. And that's the message I'm trying to give, that you remember what the city was like. We have future plans, and I don't have enough time to tell you all of them, but I've told them on the campaign trail, and they believe that, and that's why this race is, there are some people who say I shouldn't even be in this race. And maybe they can believe that and make an argument. But because the city of Providence is in such terrible shape, and people realize that, they're looking to experience and leadership in order to straighten this place out. They've had enough of the last 10, 12 years of high taxes, car taxes, potholes, crime, all the things
But here's the thing.
that make a difference.
I think you've been incredibly impressive with your almost computer-like photographic memory of data, knowledge of revenue streams, expenses. So you've smartly showcased that kind of literally built-in experience. What I haven't heard a lot of are solutions for the financial difficulties that this city has. And it seems to me there's a lot of trust me in your presentation, which is trust me, let me get in there and I'll figure it out.
That's part of it, but I can tell you it's more than that. Just the other day on the debate, they asked me, what are you going to do? I think it was Parker Gavigan that asked me in the debate. And I said, well, the first thing I've done, I got cut off a little bit, but the first thing I would do right now, not being mayor, just now, is tell the mayor of the city of Providence, Angel Tavares, he better, number one, begin to start with a hiring freeze and all these contracts that are going out. Stop right now. Stop. Because we have a $24 million operational deficit right now. That's the first thing I would do.
Should you win,
Yeah.
that message may resonate on November 5th.
Yeah.
He's not going to do that
Well,
in an
you asked
election
me what
season.
I would do now, and that's what I would do. I'd tell them to do that, number one.
Okay, I'd love to talk shop with you on the issues, but we're always short on time. People want to know, if I had a buck for everybody who's asked me how this race is going to go, I'd be rich right now. No nonsense. This thing is a heavy lift. That Brown poll, if it wasn't accurate, gave you a problem propaganda-wise, correct?
Mm-hmm. To the public, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the numbers,
poll.
Kev. You could put them up. I mean, it's been
The poll,
we originally had you 6 points up in the Projo Channel 12 poll. This was the latest Brown poll. You were down 10 points.
But that poll is not true, and I'll tell you why it's not true.
Why?
It's not true because they polled Democratic primary people. And Gina Raimondo was never up more than 3 points in her own polls, trust me. And when the Brown poll came out, she was up 11. And then they readjusted it, and they said, oh, now what happened in a 4 days' time? Did you kill somebody or something? I mean, what happened in a week's time or 4 days? Nothing. This is a close race. We're not down by 10. We're up. I'm not going to tell you how many points we're up, but we're up. This race is going to depend on turnout, and it's going to depend on who's got the best
Well, you were
ground
walking
game.
around, floating around to a lot of folks, being fairly vocal about the idea that you were up 6-8 in your tracking polls.
That was your poll. That was the Journal poll.
Understood, but,
Yeah.
but you were suggesting that was true. Did you really, when that Brown poll came out, did your camp buckle down for a real serious poll to give you a real picture on where
Yes.
you really were? And did that impact the ad that you ran? Yes.
No, we did the ad before the poll.
What did the polls say specifically?
The polls, this is going to be a very tight race. I'm up. It's all
Up
going to
by
depend.
what?
I'm not going to give you numbers. We're up in this race, and our tracking polls show us up considerably more. But the fact of the matter is, there is no buddy factor here. This is going to come down to three things. People are either going to vote for me because they think I'm experienced, they think I'm a good leader, and that I did a good job before. That's what this is going to come down to.
How are you going to do it word by word? The East Side is an Achilles heel for you. You get beat by 4,000 or more there. This race is over. When we get that result, we'll know if this race is over.
Okay, we'll see. But
Right?
the 26, but the East Side, I'm not going to get the numbers. All I know is the feeling I get on the street. I just know the positive sentiment that people have for me. I also know that we're carrying areas of the city of Providence that I never really carried before.
Like?
And, well, the African American community is solidly with me. We're carrying Latino voters, believe it or not.
This is your internal polling.
This is,
that
this
tells you
is the
this.
polls. Yeah, I know who we're good with. And you're right, we're not as strong on the east side as I'd like to be, but the fact is we're very strong on the other side of the city.
What about the mail ballots?
I don't know much about the mail ballot accusations, and I don't do mail ballots. I made a statement the other night in the debate that they should mail ballots. That's what it says on it,
Yeah,
mail
well, that
ballots.
ain't going to happen for this election.
No, it
Those
isn't.
two cops that were at the crossroads, come on, you know who they were.
No, I don't. I do not know who the two cops are who went there, if they did go there. I know one thing. I know they were off-duty cops. That's because I knew that happened. But I didn't know who they are. I didn't know what they did. And I don't know if they did anything illegal.
You know, one of the things you
And
said
if they
was
did anything illegal, they should be punished for it.
One of the things you said, one of the mistakes that you made is you weren't watching the store very well back in the old days. I think you watched the store pretty closely.
Yeah, but you know something? We have almost 1,000 volunteers. 1,000 volunteers.
But you know who goes to the facilities.
And no, I don't. I don't. If you think I get involved in a minutia of who goes and gets an absentee ballot, I've got this crowd on the street. No.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Why you should be elected?
Because I'm the most experienced, knowledgeable, and shall I say, the one with the most soul in this race. Because I love this city, and people are not numbers and statistics. They need to be understood, and a good mayor with a good track record can understand them and bring home the pie, and that is a better Providence.
We'll see you Tuesday. Be right back.
Okay.
In addition to who you're voting for, there are issues you've got to decide on. And coming up on the Monday program, we will have a yes and no debate on the Constitutional Convention. That is question 3. And I would suggest that over the weekend, it's going to be bad weather. Take a few minutes and study up on whether or not you'll approve a Constitutional Convention, a pivotal issue. And we'll discuss it 7:30 Monday. See you Monday at noon on the radio on WPRO. Happy Halloween.